Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Comic Hall. It's Ladies' Night tonight. So, what is Comic Hall? Real quick, for those that haven't seen it before, the Comic Hall is my show that I do every week where I discuss what new comics I bought this week at the comic book store and just show you pictures of it or what the artwork looks like, a little description of the creative team and what's going on with it and so on and so forth. Just a way to get you all to check out your local comic book store and see that there's actually a lot of really cool stuff at comic book stores right now, more than superheroes, even though superheroes are really hot right now. Speaking of superheroes, my other show, Dylan Knows, will be returning to a comic book format episode just for next weekend, or this weekend coming up, when MJ Khan, after a 2 or 3 month hiatus, is back. Do the show with me. We'll be talking comic books all night, all day. So 12:30 on Sunday, 12:30 p.m. in the afternoon on Sunday, we'll be talking comic books again. But this time you'll be getting it from a different perspective with MJ Khan, who hasn't been on the show since early May. So that's going to be a good one. So check out that. If you like the comic books, you can do that. If you don't know where your local comic book store is, go to your search engine, type in Comic Shop Locator Service. And once you get it'll tell you to go to a website. You click on the website and you put your zip code in, and it'll give you a listing of all the comic book stores in your area. So keep that up, keep that in mind. And without further ado, here is this week's Comic Haul. Quite a few stuff, a little bit more than I thought I was going to get this week. I know I keep saying it, but one of these days I am going to start cutting back. But you know what? For now, I am not going to. So we've got a lady here. We got a lady here, and we got ladies in there. Now, the first comic I'm going to show you does not star a lady, but a lot of ladies like him. Nightwing has a new miniseries. It is Nightwing, The New Order. Number 1, it's a 6-issue miniseries. Basically, it's set in a future where Nightwing has pretty much started taking control of the world, basically, and stopping people with superpowers and stuff like that. It's written by Kyle Higgins. Where's the creative team here? Here we go. With art by Trevor McCarthy. So it is a future storyline. I don't know if it's going to be in continuity, probably not, but it's an interesting storyline. See Superman there's all bloody and beaten up, and so Nightwing's a little bit different than you think. So it's a futuristic story, has potential to be an amazing storyline if you like that kind of stuff. So so good things, go for it. I wasn't going to get it, but I checked it out. I've heard some good stuff about it, so I'm going to pick that up as well. So that's the first one. The first real Ladies' Night one is Harley Quinn number 26. This continues her surprise story, and you've got Poison Ivy, Catwoman, and Harley on this cover. It's written by Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner with art by John Timms. So this one is now, there's no more backup in it because Joker Loves Harley, written by Paul Dini and Jimmy Palmiotti, is going to be getting its own series. So there's going to be no more backup after this. So from now on, you just got issue 26 of Harley as just the Harley story. So interesting artwork, and it's, as always, a good story to tell. Another Ladies' Night one is Batgirl number 14, and there's Nightwing again. This one, I guess, she teams up with Nightwing. It's written by Hope Larson with art by Chris Wildgoose and inks by Jose Marzan Jr. I've liked Chris Wildgoose's artwork on the series a lot better than I thought I would. So I'm very happy for that, and check it out. And then you also get a little flashback to Batgirl and Robin and stuff like that. So how they met and other stuff as well. So should be a very interesting storyline. And there it is. Batman vs. the Shadow number 5. This is a 6-issue miniseries from DC and Dynamite, and then Dynamite is doing one where it's going to handle the scheduling of it. That's coming out in a little bit. I don't think it has an ad in here. Yeah, it does. Here's the ad for the upcoming one that's coming up. So they're going to be teaming up again very soon. I think September, or actually probably what's going to happen is when this one's October. So when this one's over, you can go and do another one. But that one's going to be produced by Dynamite. This one's produced by DC. So there's Batman in the Shadow. It's written by Steve Orlando and Scott Snyder. Where is the creative teams? In the back again, I think. And art by Raleigh Rossma. So, but the Batman in the Shadow is always a good pairing because they are both very interesting characters and have very many similarities, and we're never really able to team up since the Shadow was in the 1930s and Batman is present day, but there is now a present day Shadow, and so that's who it is. So there's that one right there. Speaking of Batman, we've got Detective Comics number 963, starting the Anarchy storyline. I thought this was a great cover by that. James Tynion IV and Christopher Sabella are the writers. Artwork is by Carmen Carnero. So continuing the Bat family story that Detective has been for the last year, where Batman has teamed up with a number of people, including Clayface and Azrael and so on and so forth. So, and it's all going to be leading up to the return of Robin, Tim Drake, very soon. So Action Comics number 986. I was just getting ready to drop this one again, but then after this issue, they are doing the Mr. Oz storyline, which is continuing the story about the Watchmen interfering with the DC Universe and DC Rebirth. This is written by Rob Williams with art by Guillaume March. So Dan Jurgens and his crew were just needed a couple issues to prep for the next big storyline. You can check this one out, and then the big storyline is teased at the end of this issue. I'll just give you a quick show of it. We're going to find out who this guy is in the next story arc. Let's see, do we have the actual ad for it in here? I don't think we do. The Oz Effect, which starts next week, or in 2 weeks, I should say. I love this cover. Flash number 29. I thought it was a brilliant cover. I really enjoyed it. Joshua Williamson has announced that he is leaving the series eventually. So he's going to be leaving sooner than later. So he's going to continue his storyline until he's done. So Joshua Williamson is the writer. Pop Mahan and Christopher Deuce are artists. So continuing the bizarre negative Flash sort of storyline that's been going on recently. So wondering how he's going to wrap all this up, and then how the new creative team is going to do it. I don't know when the new creative team is going to take over, but it's going to be sooner than later, I guess, because Joshua Williamson announced it not too long ago. I mean, it's issue 29. If he can push it 6 issues, now that would end on issue 35 or 36, and that would be a good ending point, because then he would have been on for technically 3 years, even though it was a it's not bi-monthly, bi-weekly series, but it'll be its 3rd year. Come on. So there's that. Next up, this one I am probably going to be dropping probably after issue 12, but I just figured I'd get it. It's Teen Titans number 11. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just I need to save some money. It's written by Benjamin Piercy with breakdowns by Phil Hester, Koi Pham, pencils, Trevor Scott inks. So, I mean, it's a good enough show, and it's going to probably increase in popularity once the TNT TV show takes off, but that might be more along the lines of the Titans show, because it's going to be featuring them instead of these characters. But yes, I know I want people to see what I'm doing online. There's Mr. Oz's identity. So there's Teen Titans number 11. Continuing the adventures of Jack Kirby's 100th birthday, we have 2 Jack Kirby specials. Next up, we have Commandy Challenge number 8. I've talked a little bit about this. This is another great cover. I love it. The Commandy Challenge is basically, it's 12 issues, 12 different creative teams, different writer, different artists, every issue. And what they do is they write their story, and then they end it on a cliffhanger, and then the next issue, the next creative team has to solve the cliffhanger, tell their story, and then do another one for the next person. The lucky people today are, where is the creative team? There we go. Keith Giffen and Steve Rude are doing the story. So Steve Rude's art is always beautiful, and I'm glad to see it. We've got a really interesting creative team next month, and I'll tell you about that in 1 second once I show you some of this artwork. And just look at how nice it looks with Steve Rude. The next one is written by Tom King, who is on a roll right now. And it's going to be drawn by Kevin Eastman of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Freddie Williams. So there's a little sneak preview of what's to come. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that, but we won't get that till the end of September. The other Jack Kirby one is these oversized specials they're doing featuring creations by Jack Kirby and one-shots. This is Manhunter number 1. Speaking of Keith Giffen, I think him and Dan Didio, yep, Keith Giffen did the story and the layouts. The words are by Dan Didio and art's by Mark Buckingham, giving the sort of Kirby-esque look to the character of Manhunter, which is a really interesting character, and they were able to connect it to the Manhunters of the Green Lantern world not too long ago. And then they had a Manhunter series come out in the 90s, which I really, really loved, which had a very big manga influence because Doug Rice was the artist on it. And John Strander and Kim Yale wrote it. So there's also a backup story featuring the Demon, which is drawn by Steve Rude, who we just saw, and Sam Humphries, who is the writer of the Green Lantern series. But there's some more Steve Rude goodness. So you get the Commandy Challenge and the Demon storyline. Then you get 2 Jack Kirby stories reprinted, featuring some of his, was it just one? No, it was 2. There's the other one. So it's worth it, oversized special. There's not too many left. I think there's one more next week, and that's going to be about it. I don't think I've done the Dark Side one yet. I don't know. We'll find out. And finishing up Ladies' Night for DC is Mother Panic number 10. Yep, from Young Animal. Based in the world of Gotham City. It's a bit of a stranger, more crazy series, but Jody Halzer is the writer. Sean Crystal is the artist, and it's got a very good artwork to it. It's a great series. Love the character, love the costume, and it's unique. It is definitely a unique series, and it has a female lead, and it's bizarre. If you like kind of the bizarre stuff, this is what you want to look for. Let me see if I can get a good shot of her costume. There we go. There's a good shot of the costume. So that's it for Marvel. Or DC, rather. Marvel only has one kind of Ladies' Night comic. Continuing with Generations one-shots. This is The Mighty Thor and the Unworthy Thor, number 1. It also sets up the Avengers Legacy, Marvel Legacy number 1, which features the Avengers from like BC. Jason Aaron is the writer, and Mahmoud Asrar is the artist. So this one actually doesn't look too bad. Jason Aaron's been doing a really good job with Thor and Unworthy Thor, and he has a big story to tell, and he'll probably go down in history as one of the better Thor writers as well. And he's also, since he's teasing in this, he'll be doing the Marvel Legacy series, which is coming out the end of September, which I'm going to pick up just because it's a unique idea. The Avengers of before creation, basically, you know, featuring Odin and the Phoenix Force, and who else is involved with it? Whoever gives Black Panther his powers, and so like, it's going to be really an interesting look at the mystical beings that give the characters that present day, their powers. Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man #3 by Chip Zdarsky and Adam Kubert is out this week also. The first 2 issues were a lot of fun. This one is going to be just the same. They're telling the story of Peter Parker's sister. You have to read the story to understand what's going on with that. So, it's Chip Zdarsky, who has a very unique sense of humor. And then we also have Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider #6, which continues the continuous battle covers. The last issue had a battle cover. The cover before that had a battle cover. Unfortunately, this one is not drawn by Mark Bagley. The artwork is by Will Sliney, but it's still written by Peter David. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Will Sliney's artwork, and I guess Bagley needs a break every once in a while, but I like Bagley's artwork on this, and it's one of the main reasons why I got this series. So, and plus that and Peter David's writing. So, that's it for Marvel. Ooh. Now, the independents I'm about to show you, a ton of them are female-centric because the independents tend to be the comic companies that tend to focus more on females and stuff like that, which is awesome. I wasn't going to pick this one up, but again, I had to just because it has an interesting idea behind it. It's Hi-Fi Fight Club. It's from Boom Studios. My former coworker, Philip Sablik, is a major player in that in Boom Studios. It's written by Carly Usden, pencils by Nina Vuqueva, and inks by Irene Flores. So an all-female team. The artwork is actually really, it's got a little bit of anime influence to it, manga influence, but it's very clean, and I really like it. And it's a very interesting story about, you know, nerdy girls and becoming a Fight Club vigilante group, and just has a very interesting premise. I like the artwork a lot, and I figured, what do I got to lose by picking it up? So just let you look at the artwork a little bit. I really kind of like the artwork a lot. It's very clean, and I think that's what's good. So, continuing Ladies' Night is Josie and the Pussycats #9. Apparently, this series is going to be getting canceled soon, so I'll hold on till it gets canceled. It's written by Cameron Diordio and Marguerite Bennett with art by Kelsey Shannon. So it's girl band from the Archie world. So just, you know, we got Marguerite Bennett doing the writing, and you can't go wrong with that. And it's, you know, chick rockers, so good on that one. Also, Ladies' Night, we have Sabrina #8. Which, taking Sabrina, that everybody knows and loves from the ABC TV show, Melissa Joan Hart, you know, cute, bubbly, fun story, and turns it into a horrific story, as you would expect, with a witch. A story by Roberto Aguirre Sacasa with art by Robert Hack. So it's a old school horror comic that just happens to feature Sabrina, who is a lot different in the Archie universe proper, but again, Archie's been doing a really good job of changing up their stories. Afterlife with Archie is a good example of that. Riverdale is another good example of that as well. So check that out if you like your horror. That's a good one. Continuing Ladies' Night, also apparently, I guess this one is also going to be a limited series. I didn't think it was. I thought it was going to be a regular series, but apparently there's been mention in this that it's not going to last that much longer. Fathom #7, written by Blake Northcutt, art by Marco Renna and Mark Roslin. I bought it mostly because of Blake Northcutt, but Fathom has always been one of those good girl characters that's been around for a while. Excuse me. And fun to check out. So only got a few more issues of this left probably, and then that'll be gone too. Also, continuing more Ladies' Night, Red Sonja #8 is continuing Red Sonja's adventures in modern day. It's great to have her more modern day wearing leather pants and riding a motorcycle. It's written by Amy Chu with art by Carlos Gomez. Can't go wrong with that. You still get your red Sonja, but she's now driving a motorcycle and exploring present-day Earth. So, it gives you a little bit different take on things because you're always used to her being in the Middle Ages, and now she's in something else. This might be the last Ladies' Night show. I wasn't necessarily going to pick up this issue, but I figured the series might be interesting because it's a little bit different. It's Betty Page #2, covered by Joel Michael Lisner, who created Dawn. Joseph Michael Lisner. It's written by David Avalone with art by Colton Worley and Craig Zermack, and it's basically the adventures of Betty Page, who was an actress in the 30s and 40s and a pinup artist, but it's her adventures in Hollywood, filming stuff and then getting involved in weird cases with mafia people and stuff like that. So that's the main reason why I'm getting it, because Betty Page is the ultimate bad girl, pinup girl type, but the storyline itself is a lot more than you thought it would be. So I might keep up with that a little bit too. So yeah, that was my last Ladies' Night one. So Ladies' Night is officially pretty much over for the most part, comics-wise, but we do have some other stuff. Oh Yeah Revolution #3. This is just by Franco, I think, Art Balthazar. He does a bunch of Oh Yeah comics where he does cartoony versions of like DC superheroes and Archie and stuff like that. Well, now this is his chance to do cartoony versions of Transformers, G.I. Joe, Rom. Looks like Mad Balls was in there. Might be Mask. All the licensees that Micronauts, all the licensees that IDW owns, he's been doing stuff with. So that alone makes it an interesting series. And he's not with Franco, so which is okay because they don't have to do everything together, right? Next up is from Aftershock. We got a twofer from Aftershock. One is Shipwreck, Long Away Edition #5, Warren Ellis and Phil Hester. The only reason why I'm still picking this up is because of Phil Hester's artwork and Warren Ellis' story. But it's another kind of bizarre story from Warren Ellis, but it's got gorgeous artwork from Phil Hester. And it's also, unfortunately, one of the main reasons why this series is running late is because Phil Hester is taking his time with the artwork, so to make it just right. So there's Shipwreck. I did not think this one was coming out, but apparently it is. It's Unholy Grail #2. Continuing a different take of King Arthur, written by Cullen Bunn and art by Mirko Kolak. More medieval craziness, but a different take on the King Arthur storyline. Good stuff. So, Z Nation #5, continuing the miniseries based on the TV show on Sci-Fi, which should be coming out with its new season very soon. I like the zombie whale. It's written by Craig Engler and Fred Van Lent. Craig Engler is creator of the TV show and also still writes for TV shows, so to have him a part of this is great. Art by Edu Mena, and it looks like the zombie animals, which haven't really appeared in the TV show, are now appearing in the comic because I guess it costs less to do it in the comic than it does on the TV show to do zombie animals. So if you're a fan of Z Nation, pick that up as well. And finally, we finish it off with The Power of the Dark Crystal #6 of 12. Simon Spurrier, Philip Kennedy Johnson doing the story, and Kelly and Nicole Matthews doing the artwork. So if you like the Dark Crystal or are prepping for the new Dark Crystal series that's going to be on Netflix soon, you might want to check this out if you're a big fan. I get this for my wife because she loves the Dark Crystal. So that's it for the comic haul this week. I hope you enjoyed Ladies' Night. New comics will be out next week. It's the 5th week, so I think there's not going to be a lot of stuff. So it's going to be a very short comic haul next week. But come and watch next week. And then also check out my show, Dylan Knows, on Sunday at 12:30, where we're going to talk more comics with MJ Con. All right, thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Go buy some comics.